This needed its own upload. So the time now is 7:14 a.m. and the day has been emotional. So I think that we can pretty much conclude that there are probably voyeurism crimes. If someone has been allowed to abuse this much power and they have a stalking mentality, why would they not do it? So it says, getting off on your tears. Jason says that he gets off to your torment. It's a turn on, and the deadline has passed to delete your POF. You've been warned. So at first, I used to try to be in compliance and do everything right to not be tormented and violated, and it still happened. So I tried to figure out what was going on, what can I do, develop a plan, and the whole thing. It's fun. It's gratification. It's like pulling the wings off of a butterfly. It's just that kind of mentality that someone takes pleasure in pain and has the power to abuse. So armies are full of people, let them facilitate it. So I got the madness going on online. I got the church ignoring me. They told another party that I could attend but won't talk to me or answer the phone, any of my calls, or give me a ride. They offer rides, but they won't. They've actually put me out the church if they discontinued the rides. This isn't the first time. Then we have someone that gave me. He said that he lent it. He said that he doesn't use his DVD player when I moved in, and he needed the DVD player back and an antenna that he gave me. So I have a TV, and it's virtually useless because I have no antenna or DVD player. And then it doesn't pick up Wi-Fi here. At least they claim it doesn't. Then we have the whole community I'm living in ostracizing me and isolating me. They tried to scam that they were not giving me rides anymore, even paying them because I did not. Something happened with the gang stalker friend that demanded that I take the wrong order. Then in the group chat, I let everybody know that she was full of it and wasn't being honest about the experience. And then I tried to give her gas money. She tried to con that I wasn't giving her gas money. And then in the group chat, I said, how much gas money do you want? And she wouldn't take it. She wanted to argue. And then I expressed that in the group chat. I expressed it to the group chat that I was getting death threats. And she thought that I had sent the death threats to myself, even though there was a witness that my phone was being monitored and I was being threatened by someone. So since all that revelation has came to all these group people, what they chose to do with it, like the church and armies full of other locations, they chose to hate my guts and exclude me from different situations. So now when I ask people for rides, they blow me off multiple different people, including ones that had given me rides in the past and have started acted like they now hate my guts, and nothing has transpired. My family has done the same thing. So there's a person over programs and different strategies to help a person progress here. They won't do it for me. All my environments are controlled, and they won't help me, and they exclude me from services that they give other parties. So when I'm in jail, I'm really funny, but when I'm in jail, because I don't know what's going on with the covers they give me, so when I'm in jail, I sleep with the covers over my head. Let me explain why. Because when I was happy and someone could see my emotions, or when I laughed, anyone willing to do law enforcement could see this. When I did show happiness and like I used to be, the guards would come in and start arguments. Things weird would happen with my toilet. It would overflood and there was nothing in it. I did a test flush to one of the guards, and then they tried to slander me as an alibi on why this happens at multiple different false arrests. I don't know what they're doing. So I flushed the toilet with nothing in it, and it overflowed. I said, because I'm not even putting a lot of tissue in here. So then they'll let it overflow and won't give me help. They'll start arguments for me asking for tissue. They wait till I need something. Then if I don't ask for nothing, because I know they'll start arguments, then they'll do things to my food. It was a rock in my food, dental floss. Then they'll skip me. Like pretend like they don't know that I didn't get my tray and then skip me. All kind of things to stage conflict for arguments. They withhold showers. One guard said that they deleted my YouTube channel to cause psychological distress. They said that I was posting false information. I said, how can I post false information? They were actually trying to start arguments. They did a shakedown and took books. The library books, the few times they let me have library when I was in Tarrant County, they tore down all my affirmations on the wall and ransacked my cell when my abuser was mad. They said that commissary was out of the items that I mostly liked. They wouldn't give them to me. They wouldn't let me purchase them. They said that they were out of stock, and then I'd see some people with them. But for me, they were always out. And the people with it was peculiar because they say we're out. That's all I know. Sometimes they just would move tanks when you're in jail, and they move you around. You have to move everything, and then you build up friendships. So being moved in jail is very toxic. People don't really like that, and they repeatedly move me around in malice for the torment. They just say pack up, won't tell me anything about my case, multiple different environments, including the family court. They just want me to sit in the oblivion of not knowing anything that's going on. And all this stuff is illegal, but nothing has been repeatedly done. So back in the past when I had my own apartment and I was going through a living nightmare and I tried to hide out in my own apartment and, not do a lot. So I would have church members text me things about outings, like 15 of them. I got 15 texts on a cookout, separate one by one. My device just kept blowing up. Common sense, if you're sending me this cookout, this was an acquaintance at church, that you're inviting me to it. No, it didn't happen. I was being taunted. Then we got a church member because I reached out to be in groups and all kind of different things and was ignored. Then we had a church member call and say, yes, did you reach out for groups? Yes, I did. I'll call you back. And it never happened. That I promise it went just like that. They called. Did you have interest in groups? Yes, I do. I'll call you back. Why, man? Why would you call me and then not talk? Click. And I never got the call again. So calling the few church members that I did have some, affiliation with and people that I built up a rapport for, I'd reach out, say I'm having a rough day, so-and-so's gone, I'll call you back. And I didn't hear from them for 3 or 4 weeks, multiple. So I church hopped and moved around because I kept being mistreated. Some of them wouldn't let me in. Some of the church, I tried to do bigger churches. And then the Potter's house, I tried to get in programs and try to get help, and the police were standing over the staff. And I just didn't realize what was going on. And then she said that she tried to get me help, and she couldn't. No one was in, but she would dial a number and then hang up before they could answer. And I said, ma'am, what you're doing really isn't making sense. You're not giving them time to answer. And she started arguing, this is Potter's house. So I said, you're not giving them time to answer. And then she'd just be weird and say, yes, I'm called, I have Kiana Clark in my office. Kiana Clark? I have Kiana Clark here. But you're not getting it. I have came to the Potter's house. What's happening with Kiana Clark? I have Kiana Clark here. Did you hear me? I said I have Kiana Clark. Oh, yes. I promise. You have Kiana Clark. Oh, yes, we're full. We can't help you. Okay. And then the other people she's hanging up, this has happened years, almost at all locations. All dressed up, wearing wigs because nobody would do my hair. Happy-go-lucky at the bus stop, still smiling. Happy-go-lucky, forced into homelessness. So I'm at the bus stop. You're going to jail, Lindsay, badge number 60. What are you talking about? I just got off the train, 6 police coming to me, taking me to jail, just getting off the train. We're about to go live it up, have a wonderful day. What in the world are you talking about? I still don't know. I never went to court. And each time I inquire about it, they try to intimidate me and bully me. I have no clue. And then they tried to steal my backpack. I have that uploaded and recorded. They said that something about my property. Each time I have these false arrests, they play games with my property and send me on scavenger hunts all across town. They have some kind of scam that they couldn't keep it with the rest of the property. They had to exclude me and I had to go all over town to get my property. Sometimes I had to do extensive walks, catch multiple bus stops. Then my family started arguments on blatant lies. One thing after another. If this didn't work, the rationalization is nowhere to be found. It is enforced. People in my environment have to be heartless, especially my family. If you tell them that someone pulled a gun on you, they will hang up in your face and cover for the false arrest and your life being in jeopardy. And they have to make sure it stings. I just have absolutely no value for your life. Click. Attending about decades. Please. Pastor were running off each time. And I was terrified. I did not know if any moment I would be murdered. Terrified. Violated by my family everywhere I went. So I commuted and went to Inspiring Body of Christ Church on Wheatland and I believe Westmoreland. And then I kept inquiring about help. The pastor kept leaving. And then I went to the other part where they do the benevolence. Then security removed me, told me they weren't doing it, come back another time. And then told me later that I wasn't eligible. And it wasn't connecting to me. How would you know I'm not eligible and I don't know you and you don't know what I'm experiencing? I never did get it. So I said that, this is my chance because I have no other church members here. So at a service, and I've heard other people do testimonies and reach out for help at church. So I said, this is my chance. Terrified. I said, this is my chance. Take it. Your life's in jeopardy. They should understand. So I said, please, I'm scared. I have false arrest. And maybe if we get together as a church, please help me. Someone pull me. It would happen so quick. March me out of the church. The sanctuary is pretty huge. I fell because they were marching me out so quick. And my feet were on the ground. They were dragging me out of the church, dragging my feet on the ground. It was a long drag. They dragged me all the way out the sanctuary, all the way out the hall, dragging me, then slammed me down on concrete. I promise you in my mind, I thought that I would be murdered at church and everybody that witnessed it would be enlisted to hate my guts for being murdered at church and be infuriated that I bled on their property. So then, nonetheless, I wasn't murdered. I was very grateful because everybody everywhere else had punished me and violated me for being in jeopardy. So I was like, okay, they didn't kill me at church. That's good. So then I'm walking to the bus stop after being violated. So I walk to the bus stop. There's a police degrading me, insulting me. And then I walking me all the way to the bus stop and I'm asking him, must you really do this? He said, yes, you need to get off property. I said, don't you see me leaving? He said, I just want to make sure it happens. So he walked me all the way to the bus stop. I got on the bus. It was some kind of weird posting, like a printout for a computer printout. And it basically was giving me a warning. It said something, I can't even remember what it was, but I almost vomited. So someone had the bus driver print something off that was basically a threat. It said that something, I can't remember what it was, but why would I lie? So nonetheless, I had a lot of problems catching the bus to get where I was going. A lot of buses would leave me and do peculiar things, so it was very difficult. And then they say that they were going out of service and railroad me into an environment to where there's not a lot of witnesses, and then I couldn't catch the bus. So sometimes I would be at the bus stop 4 or 5 hours because multiple buses would put garage on them or out of service that had people on it. That's a way to exclude me from services. So that's why it was critical when I went to go report how I'm being treated on the bus that Lindsay arrested me for the second time. Because the government is setting up for people to violate and mistreat me like this. Then we have the madness trying to go to the store and live a normal life. Then we got the people coming at you with the carts for the smear campaign, blocking your path. So each avenue you go, they're scamming to put their basket in front of you. So you have to repeatedly get over each corner. Someone coming at you out at every corner. Then we have carts from staff doing the same thing. You go to the register, they leave the register. This happens at restaurants. They leave the register when you're trying to order, or they'll scam when it's time to pick up your food, leave again, mind games, or ruin your food. And then a lot of times I tried to report that, look, you ruined my food. They want to give me a criminal trespass or tell me not to come back. Certain places like a Chinese restaurant, I had caught the bus to get there. A Chinese restaurant told me that it had broccoli and snow peas in it. And then I took a picture of it, but I deleted it and uploaded it. So she said the order came with broccoli and snow peas because I needed the nutrients. I specifically picked that order. The broccoli and snow peas were missing. And I said, ma'am, you have advertised the broccoli and snow peas in the order. She says no, and threw my order in the trash and gave me a refund. The police was stalking and circling the environment. Subway right next to it, this was on, I believe, Zang, when I lived in the 10 area. So then I went to Subway. They closed early. So it was hard for me to eat traveling on the bus. I had decided I was going to get huge meals and only travel one time a day because my life was so peculiar. So the City Square food pantry was corrupt and depriving me of the food that they gave everybody else. They would give people lettuce, eggs, and different things, cheese and different things, but they excluded people with going and walking in from food like that. They would give you things that were not like baked beans or a bag of beans or something that was difficult for homeless people to eat, which really didn't make sense. So then they had these scam friends that were getting the same food, and I asked why was the food so different for the people in the cars than it was for walk-up people, and then they told me it just was. So at City Square, when I was first at Austin Street, I went happy-go-lucky to, they had a restaurant at City Square. That's a place for a lot of homeless people went. So I went in the restaurant happy-go-lucky. I bought a cup of coffee, and I got the coffee, and they said, "Get out." I said, "What? Get out the store. Don't drink it in here." I called the police because I kept getting treated like that. And I said, that people are, well, I don't know why people are telling me, strangers, to get out. Everyone's sitting here having coffee, and she told me to get out. They gave me a criminal trespass for 30 days. So another time at City Square, I got in line. I'm first in line at City Square for services. I got there before anyone because I knew my life was in jeopardy. That's the kind of person I am. So then they said that some kind of miraculous event after I was first shut down everything, and they weren't having the case management because they were denying it at Austin Street. So I came again, the same thing. I realized that they were excluding me from services. So then after that and scams, they called the police because I wanted services. At the stew pot, I was pushed and shoved for wanting services, and at the bridge. Police pushed and shoved me at the stew pot, and security pushed and shoved me at the bridge. So I was the elephant in the room that I would be violated and intimidated just for simply wanting services. This is how someone could get off on causing conflict in your life in the avenue that people just would not believe that repeatedly kept happening. Like at Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship, when I asked for assistance and I was removed by the police and my device stopped recording to cover for it. I've been on the bus and the police came from nowhere with incoms multiple different times. So I'm just on the bus, and then the police demand to know where I'm going, and a lot of those videos are uploaded. Sometimes they have put me off the bus if the bus drivers weren't scheming to get me off. But the most terrifying I would say that I have ever been was in jail. Because they isolate me, they deliberately scam to get me in isolation, and then I have to wait on the food. They played games with my food, sometimes put them in dirty containers. I think the most afraid that I've been was in the Tarrant County Jail. They put me on maximum security, and that's when that got really, really bad. And Lou stared. I thought I was going to die in jail. And then they I just had a meltdown and I just cried. I got dizzy. They wouldn't give me medical treatment. That's when they had me take off my clothes and then walked off and wouldn't give me the uniform. So I just had a bra and panties on. It was in December, late November, December, and they had the air on continuously. They did this also in Tarrant County. So it's freezing. I'm cold natured. And their scam is one tank they got caught. Inmates said, "Why did you cut the heat off? It's freezing in here." They didn't know that was a part of my abuse. So the inmates were suffering because they had the AC on all the way in February. And they were the other inmates, even though they tried to cover for my experiences, they're told to conspire and would cover up. They didn't know at this point that was part of my abuse. And the guard was trying to motion her and tell her to be quiet. But they said that, why would you cut the heat off and cut the AC on? Then the guard rushed over and trying to signal them, but I'm looking right at it deliberately. So the guard is like, it got hot today. And the inmate was like, no, it wasn't. I just talked to somebody that was outside. Cut the heat back on. Yeah, multiple different inmates. Cut the heat back on. They never did. Then they played games and cut the water off in multiple different tanks. And I don't know if they're going to kill me because I'm at lockdown, maximum security, can't get out. And then they cut the water off for mind games. So I'll go get water and can't flush the toilet. And multiple different locations say, no, that's impossible. So a guard came in, and when I was in Tarrant County, she said, no, that didn't happen. I said, well, then she checked and then the water didn't come on. She said, okay, I'll put a work order in. Then she said that it was fixed. And then I said, this water isn't right. She said, no, it's corrected. Then I said, check it. And then the water came from the sink and shot into her face. She's like, I guess they have the power on too strong. I said, yeah, that's what I was telling you. So this has happened at multiple different foster arrests too. I don't know how they do it, but the water goes outside of the sink and it'll shoot in my face and get me wet. And then a lot of times they'll cut off the hot water. So when you're in jail, coffee is really important. So then I have to have coffee cold because they'll cut off the hot water. Back to using transit. I'll be happy-go-lucky on the train. They'll lock the door. And then when I try to get off, won't let me out and drive off, making me have to go back. I have been kidnapped on buses as well. They're scammed that they're going out of service and then have trapped me on them and won't let me off. I don't know why that's not kidnapping. These friends that I didn't realize was gang stalkers would tell me they're going to the bathroom. I'll be right back and disappear. And I'm looking for them for hours and then they never show up. And then some of them telling me they forgot. There are multiple different ones. Then I was at Subway with a gang stalker friend and they wouldn't let me make a purchase in corruption. This was a Subway in Fort Worth at the TRE station. So I didn't know them, but they kept doing it. So they wouldn't let me make a purchase. So I asked my gang stalking acquaintance to go make the food purchase. So he went to go make the food purchase and but in the middle of making the food purchase, the security came out and tried to say he couldn't buy the food. It just doesn't dawn on me. When you're going through this, you just can't fathom that someone would monitor you and abuse this much power. So I'm asking security, first off, why are you in our conversation? Do I need to call the police on you? You have no right to be in our conversation and then try to intervene in this man going in the store to buy me food. So then after he started an argument and realized what he was doing was insane, then he went ahead and let my friend buy the food. Then my friend said that he had to go do something, gave me the food. I said, make sure you have a lot of ice. It's hot. There was like 4 or 5 drops of ice in it, trying to be funny. And I was like, he said that they ran out. So nonetheless, I couldn't buy the food on my own. So he had to leave and go somewhere. And then he had my change. So then he disappears. Okay, I have my food. He disappears. Then I catch up with him later because we're forced to live in a tent. And I catch up with him later and I said, where's my money? He said, oh, I had to do something with it. And then, this is a gang stalking friends. So when I was in Itasca, I don't know, you don't think, anything's true, what's going on. No one could set this up. That's impossible. So I had this lady say that she was going to that she was stalked me and was weird, but I didn't think, I didn't know. So she said, yeah, I'm going to Walmart. You need a ride? I said, I do. Yeah, I'm going. Why don't you go with me? I'm going at so-and-so time. I was ready and happy-go-lucky. Oh, thank you so much for the ride. Yeah, I'm going to need my $30 now. What? I'm going to need my $30 now to go to Walmart. And I was like, no, thank you. First off, she was weird. And then I'm riding with her and you want $30. We live right in the same vicinity. So then, I used to give people gas money in advance. So I get in the car with this guy. He's going to take me to Walmart. I give him the gas money. And then he says, he takes the gas money, circles back, drops me back off at home. I'm in 2 minutes away from my house, maybe a minute or two. After I give him the gas money immediately, he circles back and drops me off and keeps the money. And he says, I'll come back later. Something came up and it never happened. This is in the same community. The weird lady that said, I'm going to need my $30 now, came into my house without my permission. I had a t-shirt on and panties. And she came in, just walked in. I had to keep the door locked because several different people just walked in. Some people walked in and didn't say anything. So I had just got $20 out the ATM. It was a really low point. I went to Our Daily Bread. Our Daily Bread cut their vending machines off. I hadn't had food. It was all kind of scams with food. Our Daily Bread cut the vending machines off in malice, knowing that you never believe in my story. I went out. There was a man that would come with food. He lied and told me they were out, and I saw the food. Then Our Daily Bread scammed that they were out of different things, so it was a really low point. And I just could not get off the streets. All these places were denying me assistance. It was low. So I went in the tent, just really depressed and broken. So someone said, yeah, I know someone that'll give you an apartment. I said, what? Yeah, I'm going over there right now. All I had was the $20 to my name. And I was like, well, I want to check them out. They said, no, come on. I said, no, I'm going to check them out, but I'll ride with you. She said, take all your things. Don't leave it here. I said, no, and I was the one feeling good. Take all your things. So I said, I'm not feeling good. She said, well, I know that you'll be able to stay here. Take your things. I'll have my man take them for you. So then he takes everything and she says, hey, you need to pay him. So I'm thinking that they're helping me and she demands that I pay him. So I give him $5. I, confused. So he takes everything, breaks down the tent, takes everything in the tent, puts it in the vehicle. And because I'm sick, I'm busy, and I've had a rough day. So we go over to the friend's house. He's degrading me, and I met the man. He was being weird at Austin Street. Like they passed out food, and he skipped me and walked off instead of handing me the food. I reached for the food, and he walked off. But they do this in multiple different environments, not just in this location. This is how I'm treated. They did have done it at church, at the church at Austin Street. They'll pass out pastries for people and then walk off when I reach for one. So nonetheless, and when I saw him, this man, when we went into the apartment, I was disappointed. This man wants $800, okay, for me to stay there. My things are on the back of the vehicle, and he said, I want you to know I'm very particular. I go in the bathroom and pray. It's a lot of people would sabotage my ability to use the bathroom, even at restaurants and the stores. So he says that I pray a lot, and you're going to have to get a bucket. Huh? You're going to have to get a bucket because I'm in the bathroom a lot. That's where I pray, and I spend a lot of time. So if you want to stay here, I'm forced in a tent, terrified for my life. So he's saying that you need to get a bucket to be here, stay here, if you need to use the bathroom. Peculiar. Then he starts saying that everyone's staying there. He has housing. So he's covering for the fact that I'm being deprived of housing. So he tells me he's paying $1,600. He got the housing from Austin Street. They won't give me housing, knowing that I don't know anything about the programs because I wasn't typically on housing. So knowing that they're fully aware that I don't know anything about the program, and he's saying with their program, he's paying $1,600 a month. And I said, how? If you're homeless, he said that I have Social Security, and that's what they're requiring from me. And it was a raunchy apartment complex. So he demands to stay with him, and then he's insulting and demeaning me and saying that, look, you're going to have to understand that I'm the king of this castle, and you're going to have to do what I tell you to do. And I don't want this, and I don't want that. I don't want you playing games like you did, blaming me for the fact he'd walk off when I was trying to get food. And then I said, if you're insulting me and degrading me now, I don't think this would be a great fit. And in addition to that, $800 a month, I don't have that. And I don't understand if you are on housing, why they would charge you $1,600. You don't need the housing. And I can't even believe this apartment would charge that $1,600 on its own. These look like it would be $800 without the housing. But he wants me to pay the whole $800. So I said no, and I'm being degraded, violated, have to use the bathroom in the bucket. It's weird. So I said, no, I don't think this will be a good fit. Now the tent's broken down. I'm already sick. So we leave. So the lady says, I need $20. What? That's all I have to my name. I have just went to the ATM. I already gave them $5. They demanded that I take this tent down. But my life has been weird like this. I told her that I didn't want to do that. They said, no, I know you can stay here. It's not safe. So nonetheless, she wants the $20. And I said, ma'am, that's all the money that I got. She said, you want to get out now? If I would have got out, I was stuck. I can barely catch the bus. Then I have all these items. The tent was broken down. I have a tent, everything that I have, a basket with all these items in it. That would have been too much for me to be on the bus with. So nonetheless, I had no other options but to give her my $20. Now I have nothing. Then in addition to that, I'm sick and got to put the tent up again, stake it up again, and move all my items. He didn't put it up. He just put the items on the curb, barely helped me this time, and then they had an attitude. So this is the treatment and the torment that I get in all my environments, and I've just been stuck in it years. I just want you guys to know what I've been through. Then my daughter in Itasca coming home, and that was really heartbreaking. My daughter coming home telling me, Mom, I feel all alone and how they're mistreating her. Keeping an 8-year-old at school without their mother's permission and then having them walk home in the dark, and I'm calling the police. My daughter knows what's going on, but it's not telling me. Then they'd have her do weird things around the house. Like things would come up missing that she shouldn't have even known where they was. Like I have, it was something like Skims, but it wasn't really Skims. Like some body armor, and they were coming up missing. And then she pretends like she found all of them. She was just behaving peculiar, like someone was telling her what to do. I know this is just the most bizarre thing but anyone willing to do law enforcement can see that there's definitely something amiss. There were things coming up missing that my daughter had no idea. So I bought some new perfume. And she said, Mom, I don't know what happened. And someone had glued the perfume, I don't know whether it was her, had glued this new perfume with super glue to my dresser. And it was a nice bedroom set. She said, I didn't do it. I don't know what happened, but I tried to get it off and it broke. So I have this glass bottle of perfume that I like that's super glued to my dresser, my nice dresser. I don't know what happened. So in the Facebook feed, when everyone got hacked, there was all people dead, people getting ran over, and the brains gushing out. This would be in the Facebook feed. All kinds of accidents, gory accidents. Kids dying, hooked up to ICU, half dead, are being monitored. Someone had posted one of these strange friends. Someone had posted a child that had been molested, supposedly by their dad, and the private parts were falling apart. So I was being traumatized. And it just one day that it was supposed to be a family friendly video I was watching with my daughter. This is, avenues to violate someone and blend into normal everyday life. It's mental illness. So I'm watching a video with watching a video with my daughter, and it looked like it was like some kind of family friendly Disney video or something, like a vet video. But by the way that it was introduced, they were smiling and, so it was inviting. So as we watched it, they were operating on a dog, but they were smiling and it was inviting. So, okay, and I'm watching this with my daughter. I don't know what's going on because I don't have a subscription to anything odd. I don't like things like that in my feed. So nonetheless, I'm watching it. So they zoom in on the dog. The dog is dead with maggots in it. All over, infested with maggots. I've never seen anything like it. And then I'm throwing up. And my daughter said, it'll be okay. I don't know what that is. I said, I don't either. She said, you need to block him. I said, I'm beating you to it. I am blocking him. So then another day I was scrolling through because I have all these ministers that I'm subscriptions with ministers, all this motivational stuff. And I really used to get a good euphoria and really good motivation from my feed. But nonetheless, so I'm going through the feed one day trying to find some more motivational things as I have done in the past and for years, because that's what I subscribe to. So then I'm looking at this guy eating corn on this machine, and you know how it plays. So I really didn't have, so it's playing and he's eating corn and his teeth are falling out on this machine and he's bleeding. But the peculiar thing about it, it looks real. It does not, these videos look like they're actually doing it. It don't look like it's been manipulated. It looks like some kind of snuff. It looks, that's what it was. Then it added to that, and it was all the people in my Facebook feed, if they'll be honest, we all got spam with police murdering people. And then it was just toxic something days. It was so toxic, I couldn't sleep for days. So I said, forget it. And I went on a mission by blocking everyone that I thought was accomplished to this insanity I got in my feed. And I noticed as I block people, they would reappear. So I tried to eliminate all these toxic sites and all these toxic people, and then they just were recreated. So it just got to the point to where I was ostracized and isolated on Facebook. So I reached out to people, and then I realized they weren't getting my messages. So I was trying to flee this house where it appeared that this man was watching me. And I call and call and call. And these people, a lot of people, their number was disconnected. I realized that they were like gang stalkers, and I didn't know it. So the peculiar thing about it, several people, their number was disconnected. And then I finally got in contact with them. And they said that they all had an excuse for why they disconnected their number at the same time. Other people were starting arguments. So one lady, I had communicated to her that I had a lot of clothes and I had just recently lost a lot of weight. And she got furious and then said, hung up in my face. So that's not typical for someone to get mad that you're trying to give them clothes, but nonetheless she did. So I didn't talk to her again. One lady got mad because I had, I know this is a lot of information, but I had my monthly is extremely heavy. So I needed to get in the shower. So she called me to interrupt that. So I talked to her trying to be friendly, and I said, you know what, I really got to get in the shower. Something. She kept talking, and I was like, I really got to get in the shower. I have some feminine things going on. She got furious and never called me back. Then I had this lady that, I called her mom on Facebook. She started to hang up and call me and hang up in my face. So my kids said that these people were behaving odd because it was my fault. And then they were covering for the insanity. You don't think that your children would be in cahoots. It's impossible. So I told my kids that this man was stalking me. Please come help me. They came and started an argument with me for several hours. I said, can you cut your phones off? They said no. And then I said, well, I don't want to talk in this house because I believe he's monitoring me. They started an argument and demanded that I talk in the house. And I said that I believe he was monitoring me. I want to set up a plan strategize a plan without him monitoring me. My kids started an argument, demanded that I talk. And then my other child lied and said that I took his coat. I bought him 3 coats. He had like 3 coats. He had an excessive coat, but immediately I hugged him. When he first came in, I hugged him and he said, you stole my coat. So I was so grateful to see my kids, but he introduced the conversation with, hi, a hug, and you stole my coat. I said, what are you talking about? It was bittersweet. So then the next day I'm ready to get, it was a holiday that they came to visit. So I'm ready to get everything started, and they're constantly wanting to argue. Then my son slanders me. He slanders me and says something happened in elementary school. He's 20 something at the time, and he's telling me on a holiday, I think it was Thanksgiving. He's telling me about something that happened when he was in elementary school. He's trying to start an argument. I'm telling him that I'm afraid for my life, someone's stalking me, but he wants to persist to talk about someone in elementary school and exclude that I'm being stalked and voyeurism crimes and my life is in jeopardy. So I said, can we please get to the point to where I get help? I said that I can offer you gas money. He declined and told me that we could not do that. I said that I had already prearranged to leave this environment to set up a strategy to go with my aunt at that time, which is where he lived. He said, no, I'm not taking you. So I tried to be a peacemaker with all of the insanity over and over, and it was not possible. I saw that they wanted to argue. It was one statement after another, but these were pathological lies. So then this weird person that moved us, he broke up half my stuff when I moved in that very environment, when Johnny Bowman had changed the locks. And then I had to put all my stuff in storage, not realizing that I'm targeted. My family already knew. So I had my stuff in storage, and I got it out of storage. And I told my kids that was too much for us to move on our own. I was going to ask the first person I saw if they'd move me. The person was peculiar. I think someone set him up. He broke half my items. So we had really worked on this fish tank. We had painted this huge fish tank. I'm into fish. We painted it and did a lot of work. So the mover, I'm paying the mover. The mover moved everything but the fish tank. I said, no, I want that fish tank. I'm paying you. The mover said, I'm not moving it. And I'm not thinking, that this is irrational. So the mover says, and then the mover was supposed to be working on the house, and nonetheless, so the mover says, I'm not moving it. So I said, no, that needs to be moved. So then I said, well, while the mover was there, the strange mover, while the mover was there, I said, who is it? Okay, there was my food delivery order. So then the guy, so I have my children, tell my two children, I said, move that fish aquarium. It's about to rain and I don't know what's happening with that garage. Move the fish aquarium. We worked really hard on that. My kids tell me they're not moving it. So then my son goes to move out and live with this strange guy. Because I want them to move the aquarium. I'm paying you. And it can't, you're just not realizing, connecting the mistreatment. This is insane. If I'm paying you, why would you leave the fish aquarium that's really important to me, and I'm paying you, asking you to move it in here, and then that he wouldn't. So my son, two children wouldn't. So then my son moves out with this stranger. So nonetheless, so I have my other middle son. So I each time I have worked on different things, so I have to get the other items moved in that the mover wouldn't move in, even though I was paying them. So I'm leaving and going to try to take care of business and get the house presentable. I'm going to Home Depot and different things, and each time I come back, something's broken. And then this weird friend that my son met, the similar circumstances, I told my son that we couldn't move on our own, and then it was someone conveniently outside. So this person was peculiar too, and now my son kept damaging other things. So I've had things decades, and I'm really particular about my items, and they were breaking up all kinds of things. It was really peculiar. So what extent? So there was a toilet. The toilet was these weird blue colors from like the 70s. So I took the toilet out, and I got some spray paint for the toilet. So I got the spray, went to Home Depot for the spray paint, came back, the toilet was broken. So nonetheless, I went to Home Depot because that toilet was broken. It was two toilets. My son supposedly had an accident and broke the toilet. So then I went to go get another toilet, came back, and another toilet was broken. It was two. We had to go back to Home Depot because this toilet was broken. So now I'm purchasing, I can't use the spray paint. So now I have to take the spray paint back, and then this fountain that was $500, an indoor fountain, was broke. So my son comes back and tells me, how it was all my fault, but basically blew everything over. I'm thinking this is weird, but these are my kids. I love them. So then the man says, you know what? I'm sorry about the misunderstanding. Everything is fine. As you can hear, the toilets were like from the 70s. So the house needs some, enhancements. So he says, yeah, I work on houses. Let me do it. So I have the U-Haul because something, I don't know exactly how it happened. So I had a U-Haul and he said, wait, don't, put the other items in there. Let me fix it. Let me fix up the place, and I'm steady paying for the U-Haul every day. So nonetheless, they played games. When we went to Home Depot and nothing was done, they said had some kind of story. So then, in addition to that, the U-Haul sitting there with items. I think this happened before they actually moved the items out. I don't remember the exact timeline, but nonetheless, he kept playing games with the time, and I had the U-Haul. I told my son, do not open the door for him. Something's wrong with him. And I had just cleaned up, just bought a couple of groceries to tide us over, just moving in. I bought a whole loaf of bread, this whole big old pack of sausages that we could eat on until I was able to go to the grocery store and get groceries. Nonetheless, I come back, the guys at the house working on the house. And I'm infuriated that my kids, I have just told them, don't let him in. Something's wrong with this guy, and they let him in anyway. They have eaten up all the food from me. I bought a whole big, huge thing of Hawaiian punch, drunk all of it up. There are spills all over the floor. Not only that, he has brought his kids and his family. So we have little kids running around the house that I have cleaned up. We have his wife, and they have chose to eat up all the food. Now I have to go back to the store. But my life has been weird like this. So I'm really upset because I had just left for a few minutes to run to the store. I told you don't let this man in, and the whole pack, it's not dawning on me, the whole pack of sausages were gone. It was this big family pack with like 30 of them in it, long ones, huge ones. I don't know how they did it. I think that it was just for the psychological damage. Even with his whole family, they couldn't have ate up that unless they were eating 3 or 4 apiece. Now I can't eat. If I want to eat, I have got to go back to the store. We're just moving in. And I see I have just cleaned up. This Hawaiian punch spilled all over the floor, wrappers on the floor, breads on the floor. It was deliberate. So this lady, she asked me if I wanted to go to church. She had kids that was on a trampoline, and I wanted my daughter to have someone to play with. I don't know I'm being gang stalked in this neighborhood. So nonetheless, I walk over there because it's kids, and I talk to the parents, and I ask about the parents. They say that they go to attend this church, Gateway Robert Norris Church, and I like that church. So nonetheless, yeah, they invite me to church, and they're weird. So how are they weird? Like, this lady's kids love me. So she told me to keep her kids for her. So I said, okay. She said she'd give me $20. She knew that I was in a financial crunch. It never happened. She never gave it to me. And they would start arguments. Like we went to a restaurant and they knew that I was having financial issues. So we went to Olive Garden. We would go to church and then they go out to eat, and I was in a financial crunch, but I didn't want to be excluded. So I went to the Olive Garden, and then they ate the whole meal, and I was just really just eating the breadsticks and the salad, which is free because I don't want them to. I'm ashamed. I don't want them to know I'm having financial issues. So nonetheless, a lady comes back to the end of the table, my end of the table, one of her friends, and says, "Yeah, I see that you're only eating those bread and salad." And basically, she was trying to insult me that I didn't have funds. So then at that point when she was insulting me, she said that I see that that's the only way that you'll eating our bread and salad. She went from one end of the table to come talk to me like this. And then the other party owes me $20. She said that then another time she borrowed $20. So nonetheless, so when she said that, it interrupted me eating the food because I didn't want to feel like I was freeloading. So then it happened again. We went to another restaurant. She still owes me the $20, and they have good money. This man has his own business, and I'll get into that. So then she borrowed $20 and didn't give it back, and then said she'd pay me $20 from keeping her kids, and that never happened. So then we went to another restaurant, and they started picking on me, saying that, what you're buying is virtually nothing. You basically saying that I was cheap, but I didn't have money. I said, is it possible for you to give me the $20 that you owe me? She was trying to insult me in front of everyone. So I said, is it possible for you to pay me the $20 that you can owe me? That way I can get more. Then she was trying to insult me, and then she was insulted because she owed me $20 and didn't give it to me. So she went ahead and gave me the $20. So they are insulting me. So I go out with the kids because it's so toxic. But I like getting out the house. So it's so toxic. I leave the environment and we go out with the kids. We were at I think it was Glorious. So then we leave with the kids and we're walking around. There's a fountain outside. It's beautiful and the kids are loving it up and I'm enjoying it too. Her kids love me. So we go to a restaurant and another time, and I'm desperate because I like to be out with people, but I probably wasn't making the wisest choices. So I'm desperate. So we go to another restaurant. This is Dickie's. So they're just staring at me and giving me dirty looks. So it was weird that this man was being so peculiar. He drops his baby on the floor because he's really trying to torment me and I don't know what's happening. But he's working so hard on tormenting me, he does not realize he has hurt his child. So nonetheless, his child is on the floor screaming. He hurries up and picks up his child, and then it still commence to the torment. So then, I take a break, and we take a break from each other because I just don't. I'm not connecting that this is just really toxic. What's happening here is just really bizarre. So nonetheless, we go out again. I take some time out because I want to go to church. We go out again, and my daughter was somewhere. She wasn't with me. So we go out again, and then they start another argument. And I said, I really don't know. They're talking about my parenting, and then they don't know me. They're slandering me as an alibi to argue. And then I said, I don't, I'm not trying to be offensive, but while your husband was watching me so much, he did drop your child. And I don't think that you should be talking to me about how I'm parenting and disrespecting me in that manner. So they pull the car over and put me out. She calls her husband. And then they put me out the car because they're degrading me and insulting me, and you have dropped your child. And then the other one lets her child be out in the cold playing in puddles. Have her son, he's like 5 or 6, drinking coffee. He says, my mom let me drink coffee all the time. I said, I can't do that. No, you can have some water. Oh, that's another thing. Working for he let me work for him temporarily. Then tried to steal my check and my commission check. Then after that, he went ahead and gave me the commission check, but terminated me. So he has his own company. So it's just weird across the board. I said that I've had problems with other parties and not knowing what's going on with my life, that I had this commission check. I sold insurance, and I had another job, Certified Systems Incorporated in Mesquite, still a big check for me. We set up payroll processing for companies and sold insurance. Well, they robbed me out of a substantial amount of funds. I had one of the biggest campaigns, the biggest turnovers for commission, and they robbed me of it. And at that time, I was a doormat, and my life was peculiar because a lot of people defrauded me out of payroll checks and funds I had worked for. So nonetheless, I informed this man that had happened, and then he said that I got another cell, but he did assist me with the cell because I was new. And then I said that this woman appears to want to buy. He said no. It takes an extensive amount of time. People don't buy that quick. I said, well, I'm in sales, and it sounds like she wants to buy, and I don't have the knowledge to give her some of the questions that she's asking for. So he said, let me take over the call. So he takes over the call, and indeed she did get it that day, which was, they said, from what my understanding, they don't typically do that. People take a lot of time because they built sheds. And, but from her tone and from my experience, it did sound like she was interested. So she did buy it, and he tried to keep the whole check. And then I expressed to his wife that, before all this other insanity took place, that, your husband basically kept my payroll check. Well, the commission check. So he gives me the check and then terminates me and said that it was inappropriate for me to speak to his wife about him withholding the commission check. So then my son says that his friend is in dire need for someone to live there. And I'm really particular. I don't know what Don made me do it, but my son said that his friend really needed to move there. So please let his friend live there. His friend was weird. And it doesn't dawn on you. So his friend was weird, trying to, this is a lot of information, trying to sleep with me. And I'm like, no, you're my son's age. No, just being weird. And so I was like, I tried to tolerate it for a little bit. He cleaned up now and then, and my son really wanted his friend to live there. So then I don't know. I think something had happened to the car. So something had happened. So nonetheless, the friend went to the store with someone. And I said, can I ride? Because, we really need groceries. He's not paying anything. He said, no, they don't want you to ride. I said, can you talk to him? Because, we're running out of food here. No, they don't want you to ride. I said, well, here's the money. Can you get it since you're going to the grocery store? No, I can't. So I put him out. So then my son's bad-mouthing me about putting out his friends. I said he's not paying rent. If he can't get groceries, he's eating the groceries anyway. If he's going to the grocery store, why would he exclude me from that trip? Anyone that he's riding with, knowing that you're staying with me for free, should have let me ride to the store. In addition to that, if you're going to the grocery store, why can't you bring those items back? So I put him out. So nonetheless, fast forward, my son behaves bizarre. He's working at Ameritube, okay, and helping with the household. My kids were great with that. So nonetheless, he's working at Ameritube. Ameritube, he tells me Ameritube won't give him his check. I call Ameritube. Ameritube tells me it's none of my business, and no, he's not giving him his check. And what am I going to do about it, basically? So I call the labor board. I go to Ameritube with my son, and I give him the information for the labor board. And what it looks like is impossible. So I give him this Ameritube in, I think, Hillsboro. It was in that area where we lived. So Ameritube then changes the story to my son has had the check all along, but we're running out of gas going to Ameritube. And you just don't connect. And I've already talked to Ameritube. He says that he is not giving my son his payroll check, period. What am I going to do about it? But yeah, my son wouldn't be in cahoots with insanity like that. So I'm thinking, well, maybe you heard it wrong. So then they scam when I show them the print copy of what I'm about to send to the labor board. The check surfaces his payroll check. Now the con is my son has had it all along, but I've already talked to you. Nonetheless, okay, I just bypass it. So we go to the grocery store. My son has an attitude, behaving weird, starting arguments. We're running out of gas. We are, we have a family, and we're just in really a bad situation. So then we go to the grocery store and at Walmart where they have his check, where he has his account rather. So he deposits a check. So then the check doesn't post. The check is not posted. So, I have things planned and we got to pay bills and we have things going on. So the check states that the bank blames it on Ameritube. They said that a lot of checks, they have issues with a lot of their checks and it bounces. But the bank isn't making sense because the check didn't bounce. Why are you, putting his funds on hold? I think they put him on hold for a week and we were running out of gas. I don't know how I made it. So I went on job interviews and people retracted on jobs, several. And so finally I was able to work at McDonald's where they slandered me and I tried to incriminate one of the parties, but they said she died. Let's call them right now. Let's see if they answer. People don't like being incriminated. They know. There was constant payroll issues. It was like I was being defrauded out of funds as well. People were arguing with me, starting arguments, blatantly lying on me. One person had to be terminated because of her lies. Then the store manager said that I can't keep letting people go. I don't know why they're lying on you, but if I keep on terminating people that, lie, slander you, I'll have no one working here. So it just got so toxic and at work that I couldn't work there anymore because I didn't know if someone was going to lie and say that I took something out the register. So they wouldn't give me my own register because I would kept getting rewards because I was quick. I was quicker than anyone else and my customer service was wonderful. So that they would reward me and give me certificates for free food and all kind of different things. So to combat that, what they did was had me working up under someone else's register so they would get rewarded. I didn't know what was going on. That's not policy. Each party is supposed to have their own register, but they were trying to exclude me from the recognition I was getting. So then this other party kept getting recognition because it was his register. So they gave everybody else new uniforms. The more stylish, updated uniforms, they excluded me from the uniform. And they gave me something that was a 3X and it wasn't my size. They said that they felt that was more appropriate for me. I'm the only one, and what you're thinking is impossible. Anyone willing to do law enforcement can see this. I'm the only one at McDonald's with a Walmart black shirt that's 3X. It is impossible for a psycho to control a whole McDonald's store. It is impossible for that school to shut down, that Itasca Elementary School to shut down my first day at work at McDonald's. That is impossible. I guess I'm done. They brought the items from Walmart. That's what's going on. And they don't want to answer the phone for me to incriminate people at this strange acting McDonald's in Hillsboro. Even stranger things occurred. That's just all that I'm communicating right now.